sleep when I do. Let's not sleep together. You can't sleep when I do. Let's not sleep together.
Hello and good evening. Welcome to Gamersledge Podcast, episode 306, The Division of Anthem. I'm one of your hosts, Mark, and joining me tonight is the other M word. It's Matt.
Howdy.
The other M meat? I don't know.
The other meat, yeah, no.
Yeah, no, it doesn't sound right. It has been a couple weeks since we did the last podcast, so we're right on schedule, just like normal. We have lots to talk about. We have some news. But then we also need to talk about The Division and Anthem, and also the Battle Royale game, Realm Royale, and Apex Legends, and a couple other things. But let's start, as we always do, going around the room talking about what we've been up to since last we podcasted. Podcastian. Matt, what have you been up to?
Oh, righty. Well,
and remember that thing that I said I was going to try and get done beforehand? I totally did.
I actually did. I think I got most of it. It's been a while, so I'm sure I'm missing something, but I am a dull boy these days. So we'll start off with the movies I've seen over the last couple of weeks. I finally broke down and watched Venom.
I'm sorry.
It's a show on a thing with stuff. And the funny thing is if they had not tied it to that license, it probably wouldn't be a bad movie. But connecting it, well, okay, it would have been an okay movie, right? Connecting it to that license and setting up any sort of expectation just totally destroys any chance that movie had. Not to mention it had no idea what kind of movie if it wanted to be. If it wanted to be an alien invasion movie, if it wanted to be a horror movie, if it wanted to be a buddy cop movie, if it didn't know what it wanted to be.
If they would have done straight up horror, that would have been gold. And that's one of the things that Marvel has done very well, is that when they step out of or step into a genre, they wholeheartedly commit to that genre, and that makes the entire movie better. And I think that if they had done that here, then they would have had a better result.
Better, yeah. No, so I agree. Fortunately, it was a low cost option, so I did not invest a lot to be able to do that. So
unfortunately, it was a turd rolling downhill in a wind.
Yeah, and to think that's how they spoilers. That's how they closed the movie.
Yeah, I know, right?
It's like, really? Oh, gosh, wow.
Hey, let's talk about the other Marvel movie, that you watched, that we both watched.
We both watched, yeah. As anyone who's watched the show for a while know, there's only two things pretty much that gets me to a movie theater. Well, Battle Angel Alita this year too, so three, I guess. But that's a Star Wars movie and a Marvel movie. And so we saw the release of Captain Marvel since last we spoke, and did make it out to that opening weekend. It's my wife's probably favorite. She hasn't committed to it being her favorite, but it's the top of her list for Marvel movies. And a lot of that I attribute to, I think it's pretty straightforward. It's got, type your search here.
Sorry,
I'm searchable.
No, what you are, but my mouse is on my couch, so I moved and the mouse went downhill. And, yeah. Sorry.
It's all chaos. My daughter enjoyed it. My boys liked it. I actually haven't been able to talk to Mitchell about it too much, so I really am not sure where he landed on it. My placement for it is somewhere in the upper middle third. So yeah, I kind of have three tiers. There's the top, the middle, and the bottom, and it's toward the top of the middle tier there. It's a pretty straightforward. It is what it is. What? Oh dear.
I thought you were talking about my instant transmission dog that keeps appearing.
And half your head disappeared for a second there. Like, oh, you have a flirkin.
I do. Except mine's in a better form.
Yes.
A form I'd actually love. And not drop kick.
Other things, yes. But yeah, enjoyed it. It does what it needed to do. It does introduce some questions that, if you take Occam's razor and assume the simplest answer, then it's pretty easy to just accept what it is. There's a couple of things that could go left, depending on what happens with Endgame. But yeah, I mean, there's two stingers. Pretty standard stuff. The only thing they could do now is like not do stingers. It would be the only side, because like will Endgame have a stinger? It's the end of
Block 4.
It's the end of the arc started 3. At 2008. So will it have a stinger, or will they just wipe and say everything after this is a clean slate?
No, because even that would be a stinger, right? Because then they would wipe whatever the credits are. Everything's reset, and then you get the tease in for the next batch of movies. There's no way they're not going to have... No way.
Yeah, it would be like a Star Wars movie without a scroll, which they did, so I don't know.
Still my favorite Star Wars movie, too.
That kills me. That kills me, man.
I'm sorry, it was a great self-contained movie.
It was self-ish contained.
Mostly self-contained.
Mostly self-contained, yes.
Yeah. Although it does make Leia look dumb as hell. And she's not nearly the badass they portrayed her in the originals, because she made it 0.2 parsecs from when she got it to when Vader captured her ship. And in the originals, they made it sound like she's been holding out for months. No, it was like 34 seconds, pretty much, from here to there.
I think it was a little bit longer than 34 seconds, but
not much. But yeah, you know it's bad when it's bad when I care about the lore enough to make a comment about it. That's the short answer.
Fair enough. So do we want to discuss it a little more, or
yes, we will. Okay, we will stay spoiler free to be sure that we don't. It's obviously a brand new movie. I do recommend it. I gave it probably like an 8.2 out of 10. It's not the best Marvel movie that I've ever seen. It's not the worst Marvel movie that I've ever seen. Although I'd be kind of hard-pressed to tell you actually what the worst Marvel movie that I've ever seen is, if we're only counting Marvel Studios movies. That would actually be a real tough call. Because
Iron Man 2.
Iron Man 2, yeah. Probably. I don't disagree with that. I know you'd say Guardians. I'm surprised you didn't say Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
I haven't. It may usurp it. I haven't given it a second chance. Every time I grab the disc to say, okay, it's time to watch this again, I just put it back on the shelf and move on.
I just think you must have been in a bad mood that day, because I'm sorry, I enjoy the hell out of that movie, and I would put it.
Okay, there's two movies there. There's the first half, which is one movie, and there's the second half, which is a different movie. Mm-hmm. The second half is a fine movie. The first half was, at least at the time, nearly intolerable.
So that aside, Captain Marvel, really good. It does produce one of the most meta moments in all of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which I can't talk about because that would be a huge spoiler. But you'll know it when you see it. That is the short answer if you're any kind of comic book nerd.
Yo, dog, I heard you like movies.
So we put a movie in your movie so you can watch while you watch. And then... Is it bad that I have the Yo-Dog formula memorized that much?
It says something about you. I'm not quite sure what, but something, definitely.
So Lexi, my wife, was so in a bad place going in to watch Captain Marvel, because she completely misunderstood and thought they had recast Captain America as a girl.
No, that's American Dream.
Yeah, well, I know, but I had to explain to her, no, Captain Marvel is a completely different person, and yes, the original Captain Marvel was a guy, but you've never seen him, and you don't know anything about him, and so that shouldn't influence your decision on this process. So once, and she had been telling me she did not want to go watch this movie. I pretty much had to drag her into the theater, and I didn't make this revelation until literally 12 minutes before the movie started. And so then I was like, no, you're going to be fine. It's nothing to do with Captain America. Well, I mean, there may be something at the end because she ties into Avengers, but nothing during this movie that has to do with Captain America. She's a completely different character. And she was like, oh, okay. Because she's not wrong. There's a lot to take in, and if you're not super hardcore nerd passionate about it like we are, there's a lot of characters to keep track of. And Captain and Marvel, and I get
that's where my part, because she can't keep track of all the characters and how they interact and where they go and where all the things fit together. So she takes each movie as a completely independent entity.
Right, which you really can't do at all. But yes, I get the problem.
Some of them are easier than others. This one is very easy, partially because of the time period, which I think is what elevated her enjoyment of it.
I thought, I heard some people critiquing it, saying there were too many throwbacks. I thought it was period. It was fine.
Yeah,
I didn't think there was. I didn't think it was overly egregious for just about anything.
There was only one song I thought was kind of forced, and that was one of my big contentions with the beginning of the Guardian Galaxy 2, is they are throwing a new song at you for no point every 5 seconds.
I don't disagree with that. Because music was so big in the first one. I think they thought they had to do. Yeah, I don't disagree with that point at all. But in Captain Marvel, I think the biggest critique that I had for Brie Olson's character is that she did not really feel like a fully fleshed out character, but that was also the entire point of her character. So, good acting? I don't know if you say that's good acting or bad acting or no acting. I don't know, but
I was actually talking about that point with my wife this morning because I was reading some friends of mine's reviews of it, and a couple of them were pretty scathing, not in the hate bomb way, but in the couldn't stand her, she couldn't act her way out of the box. I'm like, well, it was kind of a plot point, so good acting or happenstance, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. But it was fine. I liked the supporting cast.
And the thing that I realized I had wrong the whole time is the other Captain Marvel isn't the friend, it's the daughter.
It's the daughter, yeah. I caught it immediately. I'm like, oh, they're going that far age difference, huh? Okay.
Well, it wasn't until one time they said her name, like she distinctly said her name. I'm like, wait, that's Monica? Who's the other one then? Because I just kind of been assuming that, it was the other one. And like, oh, and then the line, there's a line in there where they really punch it. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I got it now. I was stupid at first. All right. Geez.
Yeah, I saw that line too, but that's okay. I don't mind stuff like that at all.
No.
What?
No, I was agreeing with you.
Oh, I thought overall, I only have one main plot contention, and I can't really discuss it because it's all spoiler territory. But it has to do with leadership making skill decisions that will definitely get everybody you're trying to protect deaded. That's a weird choice. And there's arguments to be said, oh, okay, well, you couldn't say anything because the opposing person might not believe you, or, I don't know. There's things here and there, but the effects work was... So, I did not mention this. There was one effect that I really, really, it pulled me all the way out of the movie. It was really bad, and it's one of the times that she went to talk to the Supreme Intelligence. I don't know if it was intentional or what, but there was a CGI of her face, and it was rendered poorly. Very, very poorly. And I didn't know if it was meant to be a purposeful effect or not, but it pulled me right out of the movie. And
don't remember the scene you're speaking of, so I don't.
Yeah.
It didn't. There was only one jarring effect, and that also has spoilers. I can't really say what it was, but it was toward the end of the movie. And I'm like, that didn't quite. Okay, it's weird enough. It doesn't really matter, but that didn't quite fit right.
And can I say that in an age where I can talk about the Supreme Intelligence in a mainstream movie, is the day that I think we have officially probably jumped the shark. I mean, there's nothing now that could.
I think we did that. I think we did that with Ego: The Living Planet, though. That's even more out there.
Yeah, but Ego is at least like, how do I say this? Ego is a cosmic entity, whereas you can argue the Supreme Intelligence is also, but we still haven't seen. Well, we can't say it. I can't say any more about that. But the point is that the fact that we can have this conversation at all is just mind-blowing. And I can't wait to see what they do with this now that this is basically the origin movie for both the Kree and the Skrull. Mm-hmm. And so I'm super excited to see where we go from here. I have some comic historical issues about where her powers came from and how that changes and modifies some other things for other characters that I know and love that I want to appear in the Marvel Universe who are prominent members of the Avengers eventually. So if they decide to do more space-faring things, they're going to have to rewrite those people's origin stories, which I like their origin stories the way they are, so I'm a little worried about that, but,
Yeah,
whatever.
but the MCU's also done a pretty good job of modifying origin stories to be something that's in line with the spirit of the character.
So let me ask you this, and I can say this without doing any spoilers. For you, Marvel, yay or nay?
It was a good plant.
Yeah, I thought so. I thought it was good. I didn't have a problem with it.
It was very ultimate.
It was very ultimate. Very, very ultimate. I agree with that. But I didn't have a problem with it at all. I thought there might have been a little bit too much trying to set up comedy moments in the movie. But again, like, are you really going to fault it for wanting to take a moment of levity? I didn't. But there did seem like it was trying a little too hard here or there. But the whole Fury CGI thing is just mind-numbingly crazy.
It's like they just took his face from Jurassic Park and pasted it over his head.
I was just waiting for him to like shout out like one of the lines from Jurassic Park, to be honest, the whole time. Please, mother trucker! That's all. I was waiting for him to yell or something. He never did. It was very sad.
The only thing I can say is he does not move for like as young as he was supposed to be.
No, he moves like a 70-year-old
older gentleman
in a 30-year-old's body. It's a little weird, but yeah. Coulson really wasn't that noticeable. Oh, you did you died.
Okay, I died. I'm back. The Dragon Ball saved me.
Yes.
Coulson wasn't as noticeable, but it was there. It was definitely 2008 Coulson, not 2019 Coulson.
One of the, and I think we can talk about this because it's not a spoiler, because it was Infinity War and that was a year ago, so I'm not going to treat that as a spoiler item. One of the questions was, if Fury has the pager, why didn't he push it till now? And Feige came out in an interview and said something very, very smart. He said, how do we know that he hasn't? Which leaves the door open for a lot of potential pre-Infinity War type stuff. Oh, you're back. Yeah, I think you were frozen for a minute. And you're frozen again. Matt, come back to us. I love it when you sigh in robot. That's the best. And you no longer have video. Oh, there, now you're back. Yay. Nope, and you're freezing again every 5 seconds. Oh, great faces. Great frozen faces on the screen. That's fantastic. All right. Can you hear me, though?
Yes, I've been able to hear you and see you the whole time.
Okay, great. Yeah. But yeah, I thought that was an interesting and smart way to answer that question because we could have more movies that deal with that. But overall, I thought it was a perfectly good superhero origin movie. It did not do what I thought it was going to do at all. I really thought it was going to be more of a here's what's going on with Captain Marvel when the snapping happened, and then her journey back to find out what's going on, and we see all this stuff in flashbacks, but instead it was a period piece that fully took place with her origin, and that's fine. I have no problem either way with that.
Yeah, it worked.
But yeah, that's about all for that. What else have you been watching and playing?
Oh, yes, back to my list. Let's see. I don't think I had finished this last time we talked. I finished The Umbrella Academy on.
Oh, you fell asleep during the first episode last we discussed it.
Yeah. First episode still didn't throw me the second time through, but I was able to stay conscious through it.
Good sign.
And came up with enough theories and hypotheses on what was going to happen and what was going to play out that I wanted to see if I was right. About 87% accurate, I'd say. I didn't actually calculate, but it was more right than wrong. But it got better along the way. It still probably could have been 2 episodes less than it was, which was a short season to start with, so that doesn't say much. But a lot of stuff gets packed in toward the end, it seemed like. And now again, I've not read the graphic novel, wasn't a fan of it, or I'm sure it was a comic graphic novel, I'm not sure which. But so I'm sure there were some like set piece they had to do that. There was like, I was talking with Alita with someone, and they're like, well, this part seemed good. Nope, that was seminal in the thing. You could not get rid. You had to do that scene, but overall, it's probably about a 7, I'd say. Mm-hmm. For style, it gets a lot of points for style. It has very stylized. It's got a very stylistic, a lot of very interesting scene shots and stuff. Don't die.
I didn't.
And the resurrecting the look of the Goomba from the Super Mario Brothers live action movie was an interesting choice, but that's all I could think about watching the one character for the first half of the series. I think we're one episode behind on the Orville. Still enjoying it. The only thing I kind of feel like some of the plots have been accelerated or compressed, maybe. I'm wondering if he was told, you're getting season 2 and that's it. Every story you want to get in, get it out now because you're not getting a season 3. I don't know if that's true or not, but it feels a little good, but the overall arc feels pushed. Shadowhunters, second half of season 3, I think it is finally started after like umpteen months of being off for whatever reason. So I don't have Mitchell to ask how close it is to the books anymore, so I have no idea how on or off the rails they are at this point. But it's still decent. It's
I need to really go watch it because I still love like the first 5 books, and I would like to see them made into a TV show, and I know they are being made into a TV show, so I should watch that. I just haven't.
Yeah. I just keep watching them as they come out, and it's good. It's not great, but it's good. I mean, it's aimed at an audience 20 years my junior, so there's that. But and I haven't read the book, so I don't exactly know how thematically it lines up. It's another one of those things I've got to do someday. Been watching The Passage. I still like my headcanon where Zach Morris gets recruited for the CIA and becomes a negotiator and a badass, and then ends up in this here. And he had to change his name to hide his identity because the main character is Zach Morris. Well, the actor is, from Saved by the Bell. Okay, yes, vampires, get it, overdone, but it's enough. It's enough. World War Z type level thing could maybe possibly on the verge of happening, except with vampires. Decent acting, good scripts, good shooting. The kid that they got to play the girl, the main girl character, is rocking the part pretty hard. So, yeah, I'm enjoying it. It's something that Keegan and I sit and watch together whenever we have a bit of time. So I'm a few episodes behind on that, but enjoying that. I finished Continuum, the entire series. It's a decent show. It was a good way to keep my mind off the fact that I was sweating to death on the elliptical. So now I've started watching The Magician season 3, which is the other show that I watch while sweating to death on the elliptical. About a third of the way in, I think, on that one. That's it. I'm really enticed to all these things that are based on books. I want to go back and read the books now, and I just have not figured out how to make time for reading in my life.
Yeah, but let me tell you, man, I think that I'm just going to scratch it off my list since we're talking about it now. I think season 3 of The Magicians has some of the most poignant storytelling of the series yet. There is an episode.
I just did the time traveling key episode. That was some stuff.
That's the one I'm referring to.
Okay,
I mean, that's like heavy.
That was
heavy, and it's like so tonally different from the rest of the series that it really, like, it was a gut punch watching it, and it was like, this is actually tender and sad and depressing as all hell. And then I'm like, how do you move past or move forward from that? And they bridged it pretty well, and it was. I have to say, the writing is getting better and better, and I mean, Lexi too. We love the characters. Like, every character on that show, there's not a character that you look at and go, it's okay. It's either screw that guy, or oh my god, that guy's a dick, or oh, I love that person. It's like there's no middle ground for any of the characters. You get a passionate response on just about every character.
Druggy Doogie, I'm pretty meh on, but
just you wait, sir. Just you wait.
He gets his moment, huh?
Because that's one of the things that I have. One of the things that had been building in me that made me not like Quentin as much was the fact that, yes, he's the center of the quest all the time for seasons 1 through 3, but there's a lot of people that they as a group kind of collectively mistreat and get away with for all intents and purposes. Like, there's no life karma, there's no karma at all. Nobody says, I'm not helping you, you've been a dick to me 27 times already, or just used me and screwed me over. And they address that as well. So it's good. I really enjoyed the writing this season a lot. And I really thought that they had kind of painted themselves into a predictable corner at the end of season 2, but they really surprised me. And now the lead-in for season 4 is basically doing what they should have done with Venom.
Okay, then.
Yeah, just you wait. It's good. It's very good. I'm constantly surprised at how they twist expectations.
Yeah, I did not the whole Prince thing. I didn't see coming. That kind of took me by surprise.
Which thing are we referring to?
Same episode as the time traveling key, the Margot and the Prince situation.
Oh, right. Yes.
And yeah,
Yes.
I didn't really like Margot before either, but I come around to you're horrible, and I kind of hate you, but I also kind of love you.
Yeah, wait till you get to the end of this season, man. I mean, I think Elliot is quite possibly one of my favorite characters from anything I've ever watched or read. He is complex. He is, at first blush, a one-dimensional character, but as time goes on, he becomes more and more complex and more nuanced, and his interactions with Margot are actually what help him develop as a character. Mm-hmm. And I'm just really good.
He's very Whedon-esque that way. You know, it is the you think you know everything you need to know about him on first blush, but then it changes as it goes.
But see, the funny part is like, of all of the group, Elliot would be the one I would want to hang out with anyways, to start with, just because he's so damn funny. But then, yeah. Oh, I lost you again. Oh, you're back. Yeah, you do this thing where suddenly you'll freeze with one of those faces on screen for like 27 seconds, and then you're back moving again, so it's good.
Oh, yay. Internets, we love you.
But yes, Lexi, did you like Magician Season 3?
I loved it.
Yeah. She's sick. So if that came out of kind of croaky, she lost her voice pretty much. So she's still
yikes.
Gaining it back. But yeah, she absolutely loved it, and I did too.
Yeah, I'm watching that one solo, so I don't have any other opinions on that. So then, yes. So the last show that I wrote down that I
don't ask me. I just podcast here.
So the last show that I've been watching was Runaways Season 2. I think I've got 1 or 2 episodes left in that. Hasn't been as good, I thought, as Season 1. The first half of Season 2 is actually just finishing out the plot lines from Season 1 that they didn't really do. The second half of Season 2 has been better because it's focusing on new plot threads that were introduced in the first half of Season 2. Mm-hmm. So it's actually kind of moving along, getting some more stuff in there. They made a fatal error in Season 1 that I thought was going to be a problem, and it turns out it is. They humanized the parents too soon.
Oh, yeah, no, that's bad.
And then you're left with this vacillating back and forth between absolute force of evil versus compassionate parent figure, and they have not been able to balance that line well.
I didn't make it very far into Season 1, but I saw that even early on as a problem, is that they were suddenly new. They were levels of evil within the parents, and that, I mean, in the comic for so long, it was, I think, almost 2.5 years before you ever even met the parents. They were just the group, and you knew why they were running, and there was no shades of gray. It was their parents were trying to kill them, and that's why it was an interesting story. And then after a couple years, you got to know that there were circumstances that may or may not have made some or all of them more or less sympathetic characters. But still, it's like they started introducing that like early on in Season 1. I'm like, oh no, you can't do this. No. So
yeah, so that's been a weird line for them to walk, and they've never. It doesn't work as well as it could have. I mean, I get it. I understand they wanted to have relatable characters, but that's a thing you can build. You don't have to like throw it in right away. Most anime villains are an example of this.
Yeah, most definitely.
So then to games. We're still working on Kingdom Hearts 1. I finished my first playthrough of the story missions of Ace Combat 7. I enjoy that series, but man, are the stories trash. Oh my lord, the stories are such hot trash. Oh, like at the end of the final mission, they all of a sudden just throw a completely new plot point in for no reason whatsoever. It's
hey,
like,
they gotta set up for the sequel. They got to set up for the sequel.
Except they usually take place in separate worlds. It's usually a new world. I mean, this one is the same world as 5 or 4. I forget which one it is. And I think the 0, the one I never played, the 0, same world. So some of them do share a world. One of them actually took place in our world, which was weird. But yeah, I have to enjoy my Pym particle missiles because I can carry 128 missiles on a 1970s fighter jet.
I'm not seeing a problem with that like at all.
No, and that they can lock on to literally anything, as long as it's got a green box around it. What are you doing? You're throwing me all over the place.
Well, I mean. You've got your big window, and I need mine. So
okay. So we're just preparing.
Yeah.
So no, I'm not sure how much more I'm going to play. I still have a ton of planes to unlock because the way they did this one, just did not unlock everything as you went along. So. I'm not going to touch the multiplayer. I know I'm not going to touch the multiplayer. That's not what I have this game series for. And from everything I've heard, it's absolute garbage anyway.
Yay.
So, they have a battle royal mode, not royale, royal.
So it's American and not European?
I guess. I don't know. So, but yeah, it was fun. I enjoyed it. I like those games for what they are. You had a couple of different Death Star trench run type missions. You had your hide in the clouds missions. You had your shoot everything and blow everything up missions. I did get. I took the path that unlocked the F-22, so that was my end game plane. Forget there's a Eurofighter one. So the different paths had the YF-23, which is the competitor to the 22 that wasn't selected. The 22, some Typhoon variant was the European one, and then the Su-37, I think, was the final plane for the Russian path. The experimental made-up plane that you can get after the whole thing if you beat it all.
Airplane ball.
Airplane ball, yes, airplane ball. But yeah, I play those games in cockpit, so I'm seeing all of the panel. I have to do it in the cockpit. I can't play those third person.
Wait, did you pull out your VR unit and play on PSVR?
I did not. The VR missions are a separate thing. I wanted to play through the regular story part. I will try it. I do suffer from a really sensitive motion sickness issue, though, so there may be some helmets getting thrown across the room real fast.
So why weren't you not an actual pilot in the military? Oh, right. You get motion sickness.
Well, no.
I know. I'm just
everything I've been in control of. I'm fine. It's the writing part I don't do well.
Yeah. No, I have kind of the same issue, so no biggie there.
So, but yeah, so that was I enjoyed that. I'm not sure how much I'm going to go back and play it. Usually, this is a one where I'll go through and I'll try to S rank all the missions and stuff, and I just don't know. I want to take the time to do that. See, and I do want to try the VR missions. I just haven't broke out the hat yet.
That thing where you say, I don't want to do the S rank for all the missions, that's most of what I hear you say come out of your mouth. Like, I don't want to do most of what you say you're going to do in games, which is why you're 2.5 years behind me on games coming out, etc. Because you're going through an S ranking every mission, which is fine. I'm not saying that's not a valid choice or anything like that. I'm just saying that is why you're 2.5 years on game releases behind me.
Yeah, well, this is a 2019. Oh, for Pete's sake!
No, okay, you're fine.
This is a 2019 game, so it's not like I'm that far behind.
Well, somebody gifted it to you, or you used points, or
I used points. I used certificates and points and stuff to get it. But I did fire up, not to move on from that topic, but I'm going to. I fired up The Witness, which was one of the PS Plus games for what month are we in? March. Well, how did it get to be March already? Wasn't it January like yesterday?
Pretty much.
So, I got through the first few puzzles of that, and then got to this mechanic they haven't explained, and I have no idea what to do anymore. And so I just put the controller down and said, "Okay, someday I'll come back to this."
It's so good. I mean, I cannot recommend it enough. I'd easily give it, like, it's a 9 in terms of a game. It is a 2 in terms of how frustrated I get at it because I can't figure it out. But when you have that moment of dawning realization of what an idiot you are because you've been doing this wrong for the last 45 minutes to 3 hours, it's a good feeling. It's kind of like Dark Souls, but less action oriented.
I thought I had the black and white boxes figured out because everything made sense the way I'd been doing it, and then I come to one puzzle where what I had been doing didn't work.
Did not work at all. Yep, and you're like, so.
And of course, one of my children comes up and says, "Why don't you just go that way?" And they're like, "Why? Just do it." And it worked. Why? Well, the
Your children are the Swedish Chef?
Yes,
The Muppets?
they are.
Okay, I was just checking.
Complete with fuzzy faces and human hands.
Nice. I should hope they had human hands, but I'm just saying.
And then, we've been playing Realm Royale, which, according to my last email from PlayStation, we didn't play in February because I had 0 online hours, which I'm pretty sure is a lie. So I'm,
That's
again, calling into question their stat emails that they send out, which I'm all of a sudden getting now, which I haven't gotten for the last 5 years.
I'm not getting them. I got that one big end of year one, but that's it. I haven't gotten any others. I
still haven't gotten my Avatar theme or whatever it is that I was supposed to get for platinuming either God of War or Spider-Man. So,
well, since you're on the Realm Royale thing, we should talk about that since last week podcast, they updated the game. It's stable. You can use all your skins again.
You can actually get into a game in less than 10 tries.
Correct. Like on first try. I haven't bombed out of the game in quite a while. And then they also added catapults, and those are fun. And they retooled a couple of the bases. One of them that we go to on a regular basis is Ice Haven, and they actually moved it out into the middle of the frozen lake and put a castle there. That's all good. I still have nothing but good things to say about that game. It's fun. Matt gets kills. He's getting better at it. It's a lot of fun. I really can't recommend it. It's free, so you don't have to pay a single dime to go play it. I can't recommend that one enough. It's a fucking good time.
They that had to be a replacement word because what I hear those chickens saying is not what they are saying.
They're saying bok bok
bok bok bok
bok,
which
bok bok
is exactly what you're screaming into your TV as you're running, trying to not die. That's the exact word you're saying.
Yeah. Yes. It's hilarious. That's why it's a genius game in my opinion. It's absolutely ridiculous.
It is fun to play for a while. I wouldn't want to do it. Again, none of those games would I want to play. Just jump in and play with either random squads or just by myself. The only reason to do it is to do what we do and get wiped in the first 30 seconds when everybody lands in our starting area because sure, that's what was going to happen that time.
If you go back and you look at our actual game history, that's fairly rare. It's like 2 times a night.
Oh yeah,
it's not it's all the time. We don't suck that.
No. Most of the time we get past midway almost every time. But the times we get trampled.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. What else did you play?
The only other thing I played, and I only played it briefly, it's been more of an observational thing, is Mitchell bought Jump Force.
Oh yeah. I've heard things.
And so he bought it for PS4, which he doesn't own, so he had to come home to play it.
That's hilarious. Yes.
And then he left it here, and Keegan's been loving it. He's been digging into it hard. He's really, really, really enjoying it. It's definitely a attempt to do a Smash-like concept, but not within the confines of what a Smash clone would normally be. So you're playing, the characters from the Shonen Jump Weekly. Okay, One Punch Man is not going to show up because he's not in Shonen Jump Weekly, all right?
I'm no longer interested.
At least I think that was the one that they were talking about. So it's specifically the weekly magazine's characters, which I don't know because I've never read an issue of Shonen Jump in my life. So I have no idea which characters and which mangas are from the weekly.
One Piece, Dragon Ball,
One Piece,
JoJo's
Bizarre Adventure. That's in there. Black Clover, One Piece.
One Piece. Did I not say that?
Naruto, Boruto. Yeah. You might have. I'm just going through the different Yu Yu Hakusho.
Yep.
Rurouni Kenshin, specifically the manga / series version, not the OVA version.
Right.
What else is in there? There's something. Hunter x Hunter. Hunter x Hunter's in there. Yeah, Kenshin is the only character from that series in there, I think.
Wow, that's disappointing. Okay, but yeah, sure, whatever. Okay.
Well, they're going to DLC more characters in. Yeah. Trunks, which was one of the characters I played while I was in there, obviously DBZ. They have Goku, Vegeta, and Trunks, Cell, and Frieza, I think, if I remember correctly. That they have the largest representation, I think. Unless you add Naruto and Boruto together, because they are adjoining things. Yu Yu Hakusho only has one character, which I thought was weird. It's the main character. Can't think of his name off the top of my head.
No, I don't.
That's not his name, but yeah. Yes, Yosuke.
Yosuke. Yeah.
Yusuke. Yeah, whatever. But it's there. It's all Japanese VA with subtitles. There's no English track, so it's all the Japanese voice actors. Vegeta sounds weird as heck with Japanese voice. I'm so used to that of an English voice.
See, I'm used to the Japanese one, and then I hear the American one, and I'm like, that's so much better because he sounds like manly here. Whereas in the Japanese one, not so much. But I'm used to it. I'm used to it.
I was not ready for that. The first time I heard him call out and wow, did they say Kamehameha a lot faster than the English?
I don't like Goku's Japanese voice. I never have either.
The lady who's done him for all of his different iterations and ages and voices, yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, overall it's samey in the sense that just like a Smash, everybody's commands are the same. It's the same inputs. You have a block button, you have everybody literally does the Dragon Ball Z to charge up their attack meter. So there have been rounds where you're just sitting there watching both characters on screen go, which is hilarious. And then you use that meter that you charge with that to do your special attacks, which are the iconic attacks from their respective series. Oh, Saint Seiya, that's the other.
Oh, Saint Seiya, that's right. I remember. I was surprised that was in there. Do you know I watched the entire Saint Seiya? The entire catalog of all of it.
I have not. Oh, wow.
I had a Brazilian friend who was fixated on the anime, and so we sat down and we watched the entire thing. It's good, but there's a lot of it, and it's like the 12 Signs of the Zodiac, and each one gets their own arc. It's like a lot of Saint Seiya.
A lot of stuff. This one you have the Pegasus and the dragon one. I can't remember their names off the top of my head, but the red one that everyone knows, that's the Pegasus, and then the dragon, which is the green one. It's basically like the red and green ranger from Power Rangers in a lot of ways. But So you charge up, you use your special attacks. You have just regular punch kick attacks too. There's the teleport attack from behind type stuff in there. Like a Dragon Ball type thing. I'm searching again, and then. But overall, it's a 3-person fight team. So in that way, it's kind of like a Marvel versus Capcom or something of that nature, where you can swap out between characters or you can call in assists. So you can get an assist from the next person in line, and then keep playing with the same character, or you can just swap out to the next person in line. It's good if you're like going to take a big hit, if you can tap out quick and then the guy comes in from the side, so your other character exits and your new character comes in from the side, so they don't just walk right into the attack, because it is a 3D arena. So that's an interesting mechanic. There aren't any combo attacks that I've seen so far, at least. Not that I've seen or that I've heard of. Local multiplayer is weird because you can use your character's effects to block the other character from seeing their character, so they don't know what they're doing. Because it'll focus behind the person who did the last damage, so the other character is off in the distance, and you're having to play like reverse. And yeah, it's weird. So local multiplayer is a little weird.
That's
So that let's see. What else? So yeah, you're a single life bar though. So you have 3 characters, but they all share 1 life bar. So swapping out a character doesn't extend your
playtime.
Because it's all just 1 life bar shared between the versions. There is a thing where maybe all characters can go to like an evolved form. Where they do more damage and stuff. I never did it, so I don't know exactly how it works, but like the character from Yu Yu Hakusho goes into his long hair form, Son Goku, they actually call him Son Goku, goes as Super Saiyan, so they all, the Saint Seiya characters get their bigger armor set on. Armor is destructible, it's irrelevant. But as you go on, the character's shirts get ripped off, armor gets busted up. So there's a graphic representation of the damage that's going on. The characters are.
Okay.
The other thing I want to bring up: the characters are not equal. So unlike Smash, well, even Smash isn't exactly that way. But the characters are not equal. They have different durabilities, different strengths, every character, everything like this has characters with different speed, but they have very much RPG-like stats. So a punch from Goku might hurt one character, 1/8 of an inch, and hurt another character 1/4 inch. So it's not even. So there is another level of strategy to building your team of 3. This is it's strangely strategic. I think it's in the way that, like a Smash, you can pick up and play, and pretty much anyone can pick up and play and mash the right buttons and do all the cool attacks that character can do. And I've seen a lot of people that Keegan will go up against will be just a DBZ team or just a One Piece team or just a Naruto team. So they'll play whatever show it is or manga it is that they like. But there is definitely a level of strategy that can go into this. Keegan's been doing a lot of ranked. Part of the problems in the ranked right now is it looks like there's no penalty for rage quit. So he's been running into a lot of rage quitters. Like he'll beat somebody, he's in D tier right now, and he'll be on the verge of beating somebody who's C tier, and all of a sudden the game drops mysteriously. So it could be just they're just having a ton of server problems, but it looks like there's a problem with rage quitting in ranked.
Ryan Romo wants to know if you watched the new Aladdin trailer.
The new Aladdin trailer. I did. I did not watch it under the most ideal of circumstances, so I need to watch it again. This suffers from the same problem that all of these live action redos do. I just don't understand why. Okay, you could say that about any movie, right? But these are all things that have incredibly successful existing versions of them that aren't that old.
I can tell you why.
Money.
Yeah.
Well, money. I get that.
Revenue stream.
I get that. And if they had just taken Robin Williams' dialogue from the original and just mapped it into a live action movie, I'd probably be 98% more interested in seeing this movie. Not that I don't like Will Smith. I've actually enjoyed quite a few Will Smith offerings. But I guess maybe I'm just old and crusty, but I've yet to watch one of these live action remakes. Maybe they're great and I'm just missing out.
Beauty and the Beast was not bad.
Yeah. I'll probably give Lion King a chance. Not in theaters, but I'll probably give it a chance.
We will. I finally got. I was saving this for mine, but I finally got Lexi to get AMC stubs with me. So now we've got the 3 movies a week that we can go watch. Yeah. Nice. So we're going to go watch Dumbo and Lion King.
See now
I'm not happy about Dumbo.
Yeah, she's not happy about Dumbo.
I am not happy about Dumbo at all. I mean, okay, I get it. It's Tim Burton, but that one just like, what did you do to Dumbo? I don't understand what's going on here. So somebody will have to tell me if it's actually amazing. I'm a little disturbed by Hotfar, which is, I believe, his official name in the movie.
Hotfar. He is Hotfar. Yeah, I get. Like, you don't even have to explain that to me any further. I haven't even seen the second trailer yet, and I know exactly what you're talking about. That's amazing. There are times that the evolution of the English language pisses me off to no end. How people try and use it, but that, sir, is not one of them. That is amazing. That sounds like an internet thing, and I suddenly love the internet even more.
So yeah, it's I did that. I mean, the whole he's supposed to be unappealing. But okay, I guess it plays into a different type of charlatan. So the good-looking charlatan. Yeah, it could work out. I haven't heard if Iago talks in this one. I mean, we've seen him flying around,
and it better be freaking Gilbert Gottfried's voice.
That's the other thing. It's like I haven't heard who a voice actor is if he does speak. So I'm a little curious to see how that plays out. But I've just not been hot on these live action remakes, and to call the Lion King one a live action remake is even a bit of a stretch. But
I am excited for The Lion King. I think it's going to be a different take. Nothing will ever supplant the animated original for me. Yeah. But
I do appreciate that they got James Earl Jones to do Mufasa again, because
I appreciate that they got John Oliver to play the freaking bird. I'm good with this.
He'll be a good Zazu.
Yeah. I think the other trailer we have to talk about is the second Captain Marvel. I'm sorry, I did it. I said I was not going to do it. The second Shazam trailer. I did not misspeak. The second Captain Marvel. Yeah.
The other Captain Marvel that we can't call Captain Marvel anymore.
Oh, Ryan Romo is saying Alan Tudyk is playing Iago.
Oh, I can live with that. I'm like a leaf on the wind.
Yeah.
You better drop that line.
How do reavers clean their spears? They put them through the wash. That's the way. Yes. Yeah. If it's Alan Tudyk doing an impression of Gilbert Gottfried, I'd be all right with that too.
Yeah, he's got enough of that crazy. I can see that working. I don't now that I know he's in it. Man, now that changes things.
But
it has to be Dave's favorite movie of the year now. So
the second Captain Marvel trailer, aka Shazam, trailer dropped, and man, I'm not going to watch any more. Like, if they drop an international trailer, I'm not watching any more because I don't want any more of the movie like shown to my eyeballs before the actual showing. But I have to say, Lexi, she thinks it looks dumb as anything. But I think that she doesn't understand that the character is supposed to be a teenager, and it's supposed to be kind of cheesy. That's the whole point. He's called the Big Red Cheese for a reason. You agree with Lexi? Yeah, I know. I'm talking to the chat. I'm reading what they're saying. You agree with Lexi? Man, I'm telling you, it looks super fun. I think it's going to be the best DC movie that's come out yet, because it's going to come from a completely different place. If you looked at the fact that this is actually a Golden Age book coming out for the first time in 2019, there's going to be problems bringing it forward anyways, because the overall circumstance and thought of society is completely different now. But I think they're doing a good job of keeping the touch points of the fact that it's coming at the whole thing with a sense of awe and wonder. Yeah, but that's because most of the DC movies suck, dude. Aquaman and Wonder Woman are probably the only two good ones that they've come out with so far. Batman versus Superman, no thank you. The Superman ones, no thank you. The Justice League, meh at best. I don't think it's... I think DC's done more of an insult to DC movies, personally. I can't believe they let it go down this path. But I'm glad that they're finally righting the ship. I liked Aquaman. I thought it was good. I don't think it's like the best movie ever, but it had its plot holes, just like anything else, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was a fun romp. Was he Aquaman? Not really. But that's okay. Like I said, I'm alright with it. I don't mind a little revisionist history. Captain Marvel's the case of that. I bet you hated Captain Marvel too, didn't you, Mr. J. Nice? Tell me. I'm waiting with bated breath for you to type the keys out. Since you weren't here for our Captain Marvel discussion earlier. Or you weren't chiming in anyways. Or have you not seen it yet? Wonder Woman was great. I enjoyed it very much. And I think Captain Marvel was a very similar vein type of movie. Well, while Matt is occupado, I'm going to go down my list real quick. Played more Realm Royale, Apex Legends. I'm not good at Apex Legends. I shouldn't play it anymore. Fire Pro Wrestling Fire Promoter. So this is a $20 DLC for Fire Pro Wrestling. Fire Pro Wrestling I really like. It came out at the end of last year. It was really well put together. It's different than WWE 2K18. It's different than most of the wrestling sims. But this $20 edition was supposed to basically make it so that you could do promotions. You could actually take... thank you, Mr. J. Nice, for subscribing again. You are a rock star. But yes, it was a case where you got it, but you haven't played Division 2 yet. Just been so busy. Did you get a chance to see Captain Marvel? Or not yet? But yeah, this $20 DLC, not worth it. It's not fully baked in my opinion. There are a lot of people who are enjoying it online, but to be honest, I think the WWE 2K18 My Universe mode is more streamlined with a better UI. There are a lot of limitations, a lot of lags. I can go into it if somebody's curious. You're going to go see that and Alita. That's a good doubleheader. You'll enjoy yourself very much. I have been also playing The Muscle Hustle on my phone, which is a marble, not Marvel like the movies, but marble like the marbles you roll. It's a marble game on phone that has a wrestling wrapper around it. It's a lot of fun. It's free. Not costing me anything, but it's a lot of fun. And then, of course, been playing Anthem. Poor Anthem. I still enjoy the game. I think the gameplay loop is really fun. But, man, that game is so broken right now. We haven't done the podcast since launch, and the three biggest problems right now is that, number one, if you put on a level 1 gun, it is stronger than all of the endgame guns combined. Number two, if you take off some of your stuff, you actually do more damage than if you have everything equipped, which is crazy. And number three, if you're Storm like I am, you can actually be invincible forever. So yeah, crazy times with Anthem. It is like BioWare just didn't look at the problems that every other looter shooter has had for 5 years since launch and then put it all in there. It's crazy. I'm actually really surprised that they didn't talk to Bungie while Bungie was under the EA wheelhouse, to see if there were shared information and learnings that they could have sidestepped all this. Of course, The Division came out this week. Yeah, at least there isn't PvP to balance in there too. Thank God. But they can't even balance single player. I mean, literally, when you take off all your clothes and have a level 1 weapon, one of the internet responses on Reddit summed it up perfectly for me, that this is the most meta game ever created. You're actually done before you play the game. You've already achieved the most powerful you can be before you've even started the game at this point, because you have nothing on you and only a level 1 weapon, and that is pretty much the most powerful you can be in the game. It's ridiculous. So they really need to fix that. And then this also happens to be a week where people who have the game are encouraging other people not to play, to boycott the game, which isn't real hard since the Division launched this week, and the Division 2, I should say, and the Division 2 is amazing. It's been a seamless launch so far. There have been no server issues, no problems, very few bug reports. Of course, my friend John, friend of the show John, he did find a bug, but then I said restart the game, and he did, and it worked out just fine. But still, the game is super fun. We're getting loot drops. Everybody's feeling good about it. There's a billion things to do. The map is ridiculously huge. And they haven't even dropped any content yet, and I don't think they're going to have to, because at this rate, it's still taking us quite a while to level up, burn through things. I'm not sure that we're actually going to hit max level by the end of the week, which is, when Anthem came out, we definitely hit max level by the end of the week. So that'll be interesting to see where we're at. And we'll be streaming that from Thursday evening, which is tomorrow, through all Friday, most of Saturday, and some of Sunday as well. I am finding that the game is not, Division 2 is not as much fun for me if I don't have my friends there. I can't tell you why. Like, I can do it. I can complete the missions. I can play it, but it's definitely missing something when I don't have people to do it with. So that's a thing. But overall, so far, I'm really happy with it. I would recommend it. It's very strong. I've been watching the Super J-Cup on New Japan Pro Wrestling. If you're not familiar, this year it's a 32-man tournament that basically the winner will get to fight the champion for the NJPW champion at Madison Square Garden. So that should be a big deal. It's basically a pay-per-view per day, which means 4 hours of content every day. It's crazy. We've also been watching The Voice, and my wife got into Young Sheldon and then The Big Bang Theory because of that. She's actually doing it backwards. She watched the first 2 seasons of Young Sheldon, and now she's starting The Big Bang Theory. So she's enjoying that very much, and Magicians Season 3 we just finished up. And that's pretty much it for me. Let's take a look at the old news feed while we're waiting for Matt to return. Let me see if I can get it up into a window here for you. Let's see. Twitter.com/Gamersledge if you would like to follow along at home or throughout the weeks as we do our thing. Alright, so I've got that up. Let me now capture it. Oops, sorry, you're going to get a little corner of the screen for a second. And yet again, we had another technology that we were using to broadcast the podcast. Say that 5 times real fast. And it's not working anymore. So I'm pretty sure that that there's a message in there somewhere that people don't want us to do the podcast. But we're going to do it anyways because we're stubborn and we like to do it. All right, smart selection. Here we go. And let me throw just this section. Oh, that's not right. Yeah, that'll work. All right. So while Matt's away, we'll just make this window big. There we go. So, let's see. Let's go back a little bit. Actually, I'm going to go from earliest. Spotify has filed a antitrust lawsuit in the EU saying that Apple's 30% commission is an antitrust issue. And what really annoys me out of this is that they're wasting the court's time, whether it's brought here or it's brought there. Same for Elizabeth Warren. Not to get into politics too much, but if you spend the time, money, and patience to build an infrastructure for something, and then you market it and promote it and get people to come to it, then you can't have a conflict of interest of selling things on that market when you built it. If Spotify is not happy with paying Apple or Windows or Google a percent based on the fact that they're using that popular service, then don't be on it, in my opinion. It's really odd that someone would... They're just whining, basically. Oh, I don't want to pay my 30%. Great. If you can attract as many users to your service by not being on Apple, then go do that. And you spend the money to build out the infrastructure, the marketing, and the rest of it. It's kind of silly, and I'm pretty sure that's what the courts will eventually whittle it down to. There is one thing on the Division that has been bugging me, and this is a great article that put my finger on it, and that is in the Division 1. There's kind of a undertone of the government has put this sleeper cell agency that you don't know who it could be in the general populace, and that's kind of crazy. And by the end, yes, you're kind of heroic because you do a lot of heroic things, but here when you go to DC, everyone's like, yay, the new sheriff's in town, yay, you're with the Division. And these people shouldn't know who you are. It's only been 4 months since the downfall of the United States. They shouldn't know who you are. So that's one thing that has bothered me a little bit since the beginning of the game. Still not enough to say don't buy the game or anything. It's just one thing that's been niggling at me, and the guy articulates it very well. Brendan Green, aka Player Unknown, is moving on from Player Unknown's Battleground. And so I was curious to know if they're going to rename the company just Battleground since Player Unknown moved on. But he's going on to work on different things besides Battle Royales. Not that I blame him. The last 5 years of his life has been Battle Royales. Jade Raymond has been announced as a VP at Google, which this is very interesting timing because it's just before GDC, and most likely they will reveal what her position is at GDC, which we will get to in just a couple minutes. The Division 2, by the way, rewards you if you dance together with other people and do other silly things. So that's kind of cool. The Jade Raymond thing, this is actually what I think is going to happen. There are very strong rumors flying that GDC will be where Google announces its gaming console and its entry into the gaming console market. Will most likely be a completely streaming device. Hopefully not with that horrible boomerang configuration controller. But we do expect to hear all that, and I'm guessing Jade Raymond is going to be Vice President of Games and Game Development at Google. So that will be very interesting to see. We already talked about the Anthem issues, and also that the Division is working and it's been a smooth launch. Taika Waititi is going to write and direct Time Bandits as a series, which is amazing because Time Bandits is amazing. Niantic has shown that its next game is going to be a full Harry Potter ARPG, augmented reality role-playing game that you will be casting spells and all kinds of crazy things, and I am super looking forward to that. My wife is super looking forward to that, and we live in a mecca for Pokemon Go and Pokestops already, so that's going to be fantastic. The Sinking City, which is the other H.P. Lovecraftian style, Call of Cthulhu style game that was announced a while back, was going to come out in March, but it's now been delayed to June, mainly because it didn't want to compete with things like The Division, and it gives them a little more time to polish it up. So that's a good move on their part, I think. EA has also backed out of E3 again, which means that there's not going to be much besides Microsoft at the conference. There'll be some other things, but still, I do have to wonder at this point how much longer E3 remains what it is or relevant. I think they need to change what the show is if they want it to continue and move forward. Remote play comes to iOS. Now anyone can play from their iPad, their iPhone. It's really good. There are a couple problems with it. The biggest one being that you can't use it over LTE. It has to be over Wi-Fi, which is kind of sad because that's usually where I have unlimited data, like the old grandfathered 92 times unlimited data plan. So I would love to use this over LTE. So hopefully there will be a workaround or some way that you can do that in the near future. But so far, when it works very well. It has on-screen controls, so you don't need to carry a controller. It's really good. I wouldn't necessarily try playing a fighting game on it, or maybe even... I haven't tried The Division yet. I need to. But yeah, it should be pretty interesting. Nintendo announced the Nintendo Labo VR kit, because 720p is definitely not going to make you hurl, he said sarcastically. Sekiro is Shadows Die Twice is coming out next week as a PSA. I don't want people to forget about this game. It's coming out not this weekend, not this week, but the following week. And I'm afraid it's going to get very overlooked, but it is coming out from Software. It is something that I am very much looking forward to, and I think will be a lot of fun as a single-player game. The statistics of the best-selling games on PlayStation were released, and it makes me very sad because it really goes out of the way to show that, to be honest, gamers are mostly casual players. I like to live in a fantasy world in my head that says that hardcore players matter, but when I look at this list, we clearly do not. And let me show you what I mean. I'm redrawing my window here so I can fit more of it on screen. There we go. So here are the most popular games based on public trophy data. There we go. That's good. We'll move that down here. So, at number one, with the number of players, 128 million, is Grand Theft Auto across PS4 and PS3. Call of Duty Black Ops 2, 74 million. Call of Duty Black Ops 3, 69 million. Call of Duty Black Ops Original, 62,800 million. Minecraft, 56 million. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, 46 million. Call of Duty Ghosts, 41 million. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, 40 million. Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, 37 million. 3 FIFA entries at 37 million apiece. The Last of Us, which is the one I am actually both surprised and pleased to see on the list, 35,900,000, and then Grand Theft Auto 4, 35 million. So of the top games, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 slots are held by a Call of Duty franchise. Makes my heart hurt. Makes it hurt a lot, sadly. Let's see what else we've got here. Devil May Cry 5 picking up solid reviews everywhere. The Xbox looks to be launching, and I'm not making this name up, the Xbox One S All Digital Edition, which, if you ignore edition, if you just say Xbox One S All Digital, that would be translate out to Xbox One Sad.
I'm again it. Oh, what? What are we talking about? Where? Who? What?
The Xbox One Sad.
Oh, the sad or sade, depending on whether they wanted to be depressed or cool.
Sade.
Sade.
This is no ordinary Xbox. No ordinary Xbox. Yeah, so, it'll be interesting to see what the price differential is on. If it has a significant delta, I expect it to sell well.
Yeah. Also, diskless is one of the most carefulest, difficult words to say correctly in the English language.
Matt, you're diskless.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so what's interesting to me is that with the imminent announcement of the Google streaming console device at GDC, which is still a rumor, so take that with, put your grain of salt on.
That beta thing I did was totally just for the fun of it.
Right, exactly. But my point is that I think that it will be interesting to watch whether or not their announcement, which is coming first at GDC, whether or not it will increase adoption of this or actually hurt adoption of this.
Yeah, I think the thing is, if they do it just like the beta was, it doesn't require hardware. It sounds like they're going to offer hardware as an option if you want like a set-top box. But since it doesn't require hardware, it seems to me like the Google service, as long as they price the software right.
I'm working on it.
As long as they price the software right so that it's, I assume the big thing with the Maverick Sad edition is going to be Xbox, what's that called? Their version of Plus.
Oh, Xbox Games, I think.
Games with Live or Games with Gold? Games with Gold is the Plus thing, but then there's also the other thing.
I think it's just called Xbox Games. Xbox Games. Or something.
Yeah, so it's there now. Not I had the wrong thing. It's there. It's the Xbox version of that where you stream the games. I assume that's going to be the focal point of it. Now, my thought is if they want to sell this box, what they do is they include a year of that service in the price of the box. So you don't pay for that first year of that service. You don't pay for your first year of Live, unless this is that thing that they were talking about and rumoring about that was going to be the $19.99 a month for 24 months or whatever it was, and that's how this is going to work. And you just pay your rental fee and get a new box every 3 years, and
I'm interested in that model for multiple reasons. Number one, it lowers the bar to entry, but number two, do they partner with someone like Barclays or something to facilitate that? Because what Xbox does not want to get into is the financing and debt collection business. So that the business specifics of that, if they do roll out something like that, are very intriguing to me to see how they're going to set that up. But I would think if they can do something like that, that might be a huge win for them. But if it rolls out at $249, there's no way anybody's going to buy it.
Yeah,
when you can.
I kind of have a feeling the Google version is going to be more like Audible. I don't know why. I don't have any insight that leads me to this other than some weird intuition thing I'm following. But I feel like you're going to pay a subscription fee and you'll get one rental a month or something like that, and you can apply it to whatever game they have in their library, or you can have one out at a time or some weird thing like that. But
that'd be interesting. And then we have the impending Mac Apple TV Store announcement, Netflix rival announcement, supposedly coming in the next 2 weeks also. So it's a very interesting time, that's for sure.
It is.
Oh, this is a big, huge win for a Dungeons & Dragons fan. Critical Role announced that they were doing an animated movie version of the campaign that they played for 2.5 years or whatever. They got so much money by the end of the first day that they're like, we're turning this into a series instead. And then it went to not only their first series, but their second campaign that they're still currently playing is now going to be a second series because they made so much money for this. And so to date, I don't think we've had an actual animated Dungeons & Dragons series since the original 80s series that I can think of. There's been a couple major movie attempts, but I can't think of any animated series for this. And the fact that they're getting all of the voice actors to do their own voices of the characters, we already know what the quality is, and the quality's great. So it's like you can't, Ashley Johnson and oh my God, I'm blanking on the DM's name now.
Matt Mercer.
The guy who does the deep voice is amazing also, and he's in a bunch of game stuff. So anyways, yeah, I'm completely thrilled with this, and I can't wait. It won't be till 2020, but still.
This is kind of like the Guild backwards.
It is kind of like the Guild backwards. Yeah. Yeah. Dlug.
Glug?
Dlug.
Dlug.
The Guild backwards.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
The Xbox One version of Black Desert Online was launched recently, and the Xbox One version of Black Desert Online is missing 3 entire years worth of character classes, character options, quest lines. That to me says you should have baked your product a little bit longer. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I guess when Star Trek Online launched on consoles, it was a bit short, but it didn't take it long to catch up.
No, they brought it in parity real quick, actually. The Vita is finally dead. Long live the Vita. They have ceased production of it across all channels. I still have my original OLED Vita. I still love my original OLED Vita. It is the best handheld gaming device that I've ever owned. I cannot wait to see what homebrew people do with it, because that usually makes them much more interesting. Since it's discontinuing support. Yay. 50 million players in the first month for Apex Legends, which is crazy.
And can we say, I hope they are making money on that, because they are holding in their hands a game that I have very hard in my life tried to ignore exists, but there's just this little seed of hope. Small seed of hope.
Which game?
That they will make a Star Wars game that doesn't suck.
Someday.
It's supposed to come out soon. Considering we know nothing about it, that's a little terrifying, but we didn't know anything about Apex Legends till like the day before it launched, and it's great. So
it's just going to be Apex Legends with Star Wars skin. So
I'm fine with that.
Enjoy dying.
Yep, that's fine.
Okay. this is one that really flew under the radar, and I didn't even see a lot of outlets reporting on it. But Electronic Arts, Amazon, and Comcast have all made bids to buy Nexon. And Nexon is a South Korean online gaming company that has huge representation in the Asian market for many MMOs. And no one seemed to even care about it, which is crazy because whoever buys this company is going to have a huge stake in Asia, a huge stake. I find it very interesting that Comcast is actually one of the high bidders. That's them trying to break into the gaming market so that they can then offer it on their subscription services through AT&T and partnerships and all that type of stuff. So that's interesting also.
And make no mistake, those Koreans make pretty much every North American person look like a noob.
Oh yeah, pretty much. Epic is getting sued now for putting Running Man dance into Fortnite. Now, the other one that came out of this later, and I didn't actually put it in the newsfeed, is that a judge suspended all these dancing lawsuits for now. Doesn't mean they're clear and free out of the water. It's just a temporary thing while they regroup. Some kind, I don't know what's going on there.
I don't know if they're going to try to compile them all into a single case somehow.
I'm thinking that's probably like a class action or something like that.
Yeah.
But if this establishes precedent for the Running Man, Running Man has been in almost every wrestling game ever made, and so then once that precedent is established, I would not be surprised to see 2K be sued for the same thing.
Who claims that they own that anyway?
It's actually basketball players from a basketball team that got it super.
Because that's been around forever.
Yeah.
It's like a statute of limitations on dance claims, I think.
PlayerUnknown's Battleground did a Horizon Zero Dawn skin crossover. I'm all for those types of crossovers. In fact, Terra right now is doing a PlayerUnknown battle. Well, a Battlegrounds, because you missed that story. You weren't here. PlayerUnknown has officially moved on from PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds.
Oh, really?
Today. Yes.
Wow. I missed that.
They made a new division. It's called Games Research and Development, and he is heading that. And he is no longer working on PUBG. So I asked if they were going to rename the company just Battlegrounds, and or the game just Battlegrounds, since PlayerUnknown's no longer there. But regardless, yeah.
They got to call it something different. Battlegrounds is too ambiguous. There have been too many Battlegrounds.
Robert Kirkman, the creator of The Walking Dead, gave a rather scathing review of Overkill's attempt at a Walking Dead video game, which got pulled from PCs and Steam, and also got canceled for all the consoles, and basically said the product did not meet our quality standards and guidelines, and it sucks. And I'm yeah, when Kirkman's telling you that, woof. So there's a lot of question whether or not Overkill is going to be able to financially
survive
that storm or not. We'll see if the heist money makes them enough to stay in business.
I wonder what went wrong there, because it sounds like they didn't see the game until after it was done, which when you're doing a license thing, that's generally not good.
Well, it was, the development cycle was way extended also, so that was part of the problem. Switch Pokemon games are named Pokemon Sword and Shield. Dave will probably disappear trying to make some kind of mutant Jigglypuff hybrid that he can use to enslave the world.
That was a thing that was allowed because of the nuances of Let's Go series. If he can pull something off like that in a regular Pokemon game, that's some serious hours. He's going to be... You won't do that twice in one day like he did in Let's Go.
Yeah. Path of Exile is officially coming, I think, March 22nd or 24th. I can't remember which. But it is coming at the end of March. It will be free to play. So that's interesting as well. If you've never heard of Path of Exile, it is basically, and I'm not joking, Diablo 2 mixed with Final Fantasy VII's materia system. And that should be enough to make most people's brains melt. Let me tell you that the skill trees alone, you add skill trees into that from Diablo 2. The skill trees alone are so deep that there are people who have never hit the ends of some of them. The game is just like if you like, hey, yo dog, I heard you like grinding. So
and all the materia is $1.99 because it'll surely have microtransactions.
It does not. I believe they do have you know what? I'm going to pull it up right now. I do believe they have cosmetic items, skins that you can do, but I want to say they have sold expansions to the game, but you know what? Now I'm starting to question if it's actually going to be free, because now that I'm thinking about this, they did mention that it will have all of the expansions in the PS4 version. Path of Exile PS4. Let's see. No, it is free to play. That is correct. So I'm not sure. We go to Path of Exile, Path of Exile microtransactions. Micro shop. Here we go. So it looks like it's stuff like stash tabs, cosmetic armor, cosmetic back attachments, cosmetic weapon skins. You know how you've got the Diablo 2 portal?
Right.
You can buy cosmetic portals to use instead that other people can see. You can change the effects of your skills, not the mechanical effects, but the
how they appear.
Cosmetic. Yeah, the cosmetic effects. There's guild stuff that you can buy. Footprints, like cosmetic footprints that you leave behind. Really, yes. Yes. Pets.
Oh boy.
What's this new? Is that? Wait. How do I see this? This totally looks like the Sorting Hat from Harry Potter.
It does, except it's got a little gem on the front. But
yeah. It totally does look like it. Unique collection tabs can hold one of each unique item. Dragonfly wings.
It's already more complicated than I care to. No, I'm done. Collection tabs. I'm like, I don't know. I'm done. That's it.
I figure eventually I will download it. So my issue, like originally,
I download lots of things. That doesn't mean I play them.
Yeah. Well, my thing originally with Diablo 3 was that I would fall asleep playing it because it was so boring to me. I didn't have a goal in mind anymore than grinding, right? And when I grind for grind's sake, I fall asleep. When they brought the seasons,
you play every MMO known to man and grind and listen.
But I have something I'm working towards in most of those grinds. When I reached max level, I'm like I forgot the name of the extra levels you get at the end. Once you hit the max level, prestige. I hit like prestige level 1400, which is really high. There's nothing left for me to do in the game, so it was just grinding to possibly get a new version of something I had with a slightly better stat. That would make me fall asleep. But when they introduced the concept of seasons, and you could earn specific armor by doing these X set things, then suddenly I was interested in not falling asleep while I was playing. So if I can find something similar in Path of Exile, that's a Diablo 2 that I can play with my friends online, and they want to play, that's somewhat appealing to me, especially as a free to play. So yeah,
I could see a Magic Monday or two going that way.
yeah, exactly.
Don't have anything to say about the Pokemon trailer, huh? Detective Pikachu.
Dude,
Have you watched it?
Yeah,
It's Deadpool.
Looks like it's Pikapool.
Pikapool, yeah. Every line delivery it's like, okay, I've just given up. He is Ryan Reynolds doing Deadpool as Pikachu. Every line delivery is dead on as his Deadpool delivery, which is just like hilarious. But
I have to say that this is like probably my sleeper film of the year. Like, this is going to get zero traction with anybody who's not a Pokemon fan, but I think that this movie is going to be fantastic. It looks super fun, much like Shazam, despite what Mr. J. Nice and my wife say.
What? I missed the end of that conversation. Did they don't think it looks good?
No, they think it looks stupid as hell.
Oh, it does, but he can pull that off.
I know.
He was born to be an oversized 14-year-old.
I know. And I was explaining that, you're bringing a Golden Age comic forward. You are limited in the relatability because, it was made under very different set of circumstances. Pre-World War... No, post-World War II.
Post-World War II, yeah.
Actually, Wiz Comics. I'm looking because I think Wiz Comics. No, pre-World War II. I was right. 1940.
Well, mid.
Didn't it start in 1941?
No.
Wasn't that
No.
December 7th?
U.S. involvement was 1941.
Well, that's what I'm saying, right? Because it was a U.S.-based comic, so they wouldn't have been pre-shadowing the war at that point or feeling the tensions necessarily there. But, it's a very different era, nonetheless. And then you're trying to pull that to 2019, which that in and itself is going to be kind of an amazing feat. So I'm super excited about it. I think it looks great. Guild Wars 2 developer ArenaNet, mass layoffs. They're not doing well. They haven't put out a new Guild Wars game in a while. The last expansion apparently didn't sell super well. So hopefully those folks can land on their feet at another development house. That was a double post apparently.
Yeah, we did. We did one of those.
Reggie's retiring from Nintendo of America.
And Bowser's taking over.
Which is like, how? How did they... I mean, they had to have hired him just for his name.
Seems like.
All I have to say is that every time Bowser reveals a new game, he has to go, oh, 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 oh. That has to be... If they don't do it, I will in post-production. So, fair warning, you will see videos on our YouTube channel that is just him saying something, and then it's the Super Mario 3D Bowser. Every time. It's all it's going to be forever.
He's better be spitting flame and throwing fireballs.
No, I just want to laugh. I'll be good with that.
Oh, okay.
I think we're past the last one, don't we?
I don't know. Maybe I don't remember.
February 18th. I think we talked about.
Yeah. I think
Punisher
we
and Jessica Jones being deaded. Yeah. So that's it for news.
Yeah, that's interesting. That whole thing. We still don't have a date for Disney Plus, so I'm still curious as to exactly how that all is going to play out. Oh yes, yeah. What was the consensus on Labo VR?
The consensus on Labo VR is that VR movement with 720p is not going to make anyone hurl.
It's such a bizarre. I mean, it's Google Cardboard, but with Nintendo, and it's just weird.
The funny part is I would have to scroll back in my thing, but I called this.
Yeah.
I called this like a year and a half, 2 years ago, that they had filed for patents for VR. And so I said they were going to do Switch VR. I didn't know how they were going to do it. And I still don't know how they're going to do it without making people hurl. But
it's questionable as to whether it even technically would count as VR at this point. But my agent is the scariest part about the Division 2.
Which you really need to read this because it's hilarious. Because it put a finger on something, and I did discuss this, but I don't mind going over it again. It put a finger on something that was bugging me since I first started playing the Division 2. And that is that you're being treated in the Division 2 as the second coming. No one is taken aback or surprised that there was this sleeper cell agency from its own government in its midst. No, you're the good guy now. Please help me, Obi-Wan. You're my only hope. That's what basically everyone is. But you've got no way to interact with them. So it's like people are asking for your help and you're just like, yeah, whatever. And you're always kind of half smiling in cutscenes, even when people are telling you that their child has been abducted and whatever. And he went out of his way to make his agent look like the least trustworthy person possible. And there's a phrase that has been popping up in many writings across the internet, which is now my favorite meme. And then I gotta find it just real quick. Yeah. My friend takes care to note that the tattoos, sunglasses that have absolutely not been scavenged from a corpse, and overall cop attitude of my character really lends a good air of benevolence. While we both agree that this character can clearly party, the reality is that if she smelled drugs at a party, she would immediately shoot everyone in the room. And this is the sentence. It's fine. This is probably fine. I've been seeing that everywhere lately, and it's very good. But yeah, it is a little weird because you are basically treated like a rock star from moment one. And keep in mind that this is only 4 months after the fall. So, I'm surprised. Like the White House, I get. Because the president's the one that signed the executive order activating the division. So I get why the folks that are holed up in the White House, I get why they know about it, right? But the rest of DC, I don't understand why they know about it and or embrace these people. Yes, theoretically there have been agents working there for the last 4 months, and they do say that. But even so, where is the skepticism that you would have in reality about sleeper agents working alongside you? It seems a little too happy.
Or rogue agents, because I mean that was a whole thing with the multiplayer in 1. You know, it's like none of these people have abused their power ever.
It is. I'm hoping it's something they touch on as time goes on, but I'm thinking that all of that has just been swept under the rug, and no, it's shiny, happy, you're a good guy. Because one of the things they also pointed out, which in this article, which I really enjoyed, if I haven't made that clear, is that a lot of times your moral compass is no better than the factions you're murdering. Because, like, for example, you'll be crouched behind some cover waiting for a couple of people who are talking to a line or whatever so you can throw a grenade or power or an ability, and one of them will say, man, I killed so many people yesterday. And that's a blatant attempt to get you to feel good about murdering them and taking their stuff, which is what they were doing in their thing. So how are you any better than the people you're murdering. It's
they're the bad guys.
Right, but that's a really weird... It's a really weird moral thing to do, right? Because you have no other option. Your entire existence is in life in this game so far is I gun stuff down good. And so
there's no tranquilize everybody option.
Yeah, there's no negotiate. There's no broker a peace accord. There's nothing. It's go in there, murder everyone, pick up their stuff, use their stuff to murder more people. And so it's now am I like complaining about this? No, it's a gosh darn game. I could care flippin' less. But it is weird that they take the time to try and put the moral justification in there when they don't give you a way to actually be better than the people they're trying to equivocate to the bad moral option, if that makes sense.
Right.
So it's a little weird, but I thought it was funny, and it's been niggling at my brain this whole time, going, there's something going on here. I can't think of exactly what it is, but it's rubbing me the wrong way, and that's what it was. So it's kind of funny. I thought it was hilarious. And you did not get to comment on this. I actually would like your thought on this. So we know Apple has a walled garden. They take a 30% cut of any subscription that a company leverages through the Apple Store. Google does the same thing. I'm trying to think. Sony does the same thing with their service. Microsoft does the same thing. So Spotify has filed an antitrust lawsuit in the EU saying that that they can't sell on their own created network that they manage and run the network at the same time. And I say Spotify can go take a flying leap and build their own network, incur their own infrastructure costs, incur their own marketing costs, incur their own user adoption costs, and keep 100% of their profit. But if you're going to go on somebody's closed network, accepting their terms and piggybacking off their success to expose your product to more people and and assume you're not going to incur any cost, that's ridiculous. And why would it be antitrust if Apple launches an iOS store that they be the only people on the iOS store because they just launched the service? So they're the only ones with apps. Now they're in like the super minority of app developers. Why shouldn't they be able to publish things on their own network? It seems really weird. And I guess you could say, well, they could better promote their own stuff because they can control the network. Duh! They built the network. And you can replace the word Apple with any affiliation that you like. Sony, Microsoft, I don't care. Because I would say the same thing for any company. If Spotify wants to sell to Xbox One users, they can do it one of two ways. They can put their app on Microsoft's Xbox store and expect to pay for the marketing and infrastructure build out that Microsoft has done, or they can go on their own and pay for infrastructure and marketing to market to Xbox One users and say this is a thing that you can do outside of Microsoft's network. It seems like they're trying to have their cake and eat it too.
Yeah, the only thing I can think of here, and the reason you could get around this on Android is because you can use other stores on Android. So there are other stores that you can install and use products from these other stores. Now, there's some really sketchy crap out there too, so I'm not saying you should, but there's an Amazon store, for example. If you're an Amazon file, you can download apps that are from the Amazon store. There's not an equivalent there, I don't think, in iOS. You're
Yeah,
locked to only
I
the
get what
Apple
you're saying.
store.
Yeah, I get
So
what
I
you're
mean,
saying.
from an antitrust perspective, okay, Spotify in theory could launch its own store and say we want to have the Spotify family of products, whatever that would be, on our Spotify store, and you should be allowing as a technology platform to allow that store to be used on your platform. There's a case there. If they're just saying I don't want to pay my 30%, yeah, I think iOS is on the high end of the cuts. I think they take the most. But yeah, everyone takes a cut out of their thing. But that would be like saying, I mean, that gets into the whole net neutrality kind of stuff too, right? It's like, do I have to buy an Apple computer to go to apple.com? You know, it's a very tricky world, and without reading more, I'm trying to. I'd have to, but let's see.
It basically says, specifically, Spotify says that by charging a 30% tax on in-app purchases, Apple forces app developers to make an impossible choice. Either pass those costs on to consumers or refuse to pay the commission and face a litany of technical hurdles imposed by Apple. That seems like that is not a true Occam's razor. It's either pass those costs on to consumers, chalk it up as a cost of doing business on this popular platform, refuse to pay the commission and not be on Apple, or build your own. I mean, they could choose not to sell subscriptions through Apple devices, right? They could say, okay, you can sign up via the web and you can log in on your Apple device, but no one's representing that here, right? So that's the part that makes me think it is. They say, let me be clear, this is not a Spotify versus Apple issue. It sounds to me like it is, because there are ways that they could totally use the service without having to pay a premium. It's just like Fortnite, right? You can't you buy stuff through the web store and then it works on any device now. It didn't originally, but it does now. And that's kind of the same thing here. It seems like they're trying to say this is a or B, when in reality it's A, B, C, D, or E. You have a lot of options. You're just upset about the ones that you don't want to do.
And I guess I get that, and that was something I wasn't thinking about either. You're not buying a product. It would be like saying, I want to sign up for Netflix for my iPhone, but I'm going to have to pay 30% more for my Netflix because I signed up through the Apple Store. That's pretty shady, because you're not paying for.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying, right? Netflix does pay if somebody signs up through Apple, through the Apple app, which I'm not even. Can you even do that?
I don't know. I mean, I just made that example up, so I have no idea.
I'm not sure if you can pay if you can sign up through the Netflix app or not. If you could, if you can, then you would pay. Then Netflix would pay that 30% to Apple.
I think the right answer there is a different tier of tax, right? I think a subscription fee tax should be significantly less than a product tax. And I use the term tax here in the non-governmental tax type way. Because that's a little crazy.
Yeah, see, Netflix bypasses this completely. You cannot buy a contract through their app.
Right. You have to go online and
go online and do it. And so I think this is a complete moot issue.
Yeah, I was thinking like buying albums, but you don't do that on Spotify. It's strictly a subscription based thing. So
Yeah, and so if you want to utilize their service and make it so iPhone users can use Spotify, great. Remove the option to purchase. Otherwise, if you're going to allow people, because they are using the service to attract more customers to Spotify, then you're going to have to pay the tax. It just seems
there is a class of user that is probably using Spotify that probably doesn't own a computer.
Exactly, and you don't have to pay that. You don't have to pass that on to the consumer. That's your choice. That should be included in your cost of goods sold for that segment of user.
Right. I mean, it just means your costs, your prices overall go up to absorb that loss.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But yeah, that's so weird. Yeah, because like if you buy it through the phone, you're more necessarily.
Yeah, but they don't have to do that, right? They don't.
No, right. I'm still just working my way through the whole subscription thing. Just threw a whole loop in my brain because I didn't think about it as a subscription at first. Yeah, I get where they're coming from because just inherently that feels kind of shady because you can't even claim the network thing then there because it's not like it's only available through the network. I could buy my subscription on Android and then go to my iPad and use it, and I didn't pay Apple a cent for that. So,
right, but why would you even offer subscriptions on Apple's infrastructure? The answer is because they know they can get more people to sign up through their iPhone than if they did it on Android or another service.
And Apple's saying, well, we know this, so of course we're going to bill you for the privilege.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I again, you could substitute anybody else. I'm not being an Apple fanboy on this.
Yeah.
This is a case where I think that if you have a popular service and you are going to use their service, then why would you complain about using their service to make more money? Because you're obviously increasing your user base, which is why you are allowing people to sign up through that platform anyways. If it was a case where you were just wanting to cater to people and send them to the website to sign up, they would do that. But they think it's more frictionless to have them sign up and...
Yeah, because I mean, I guess that would be the option, except that I think in iOS you can't link to the web browser from an app, if I'm remembering security right. But I mean, that would be the thing, would be sign up, and that just launches the browser and takes you to the web page, and you pay via PayPal through the browser or whatever, and done.
Yeah, and that's what you can do that in iOS.
Okay.
I have a bunch of stuff that does that. So, I mean, that's something they could do, which, for me, an antitrust lawsuit seems like it's overkill and just a waste of the court's time. But we'll find out.
It's an interesting probe to see where it goes for precedents, at least.
Your face is an interesting probe to see where it goes for precedents, at least. See? It is interesting. That's going to bring us to the end of the show.
Holy cow.
Where we, Oh, there's a dog under my feet.
Fall over again. Like fifth time in this show. You've either fallen down or dropped the mouse or killed the dog.
No, I'm leaning forward to pull up notes on my laptop. But when I did so, there is a dog directly underneath my feet, and luckily my legs were crossed, so it went on either side of him. But it's like one of those cartoons where the giant stone slabs fall down on both sides of the X-Men character.
Yeah.
To be very specific.
Oddly specific. Did I say The Gifted? I don't think I mentioned The Gifted. So yeah, The Gifted finished season 2. We watched the end of season 2. So I think you'll enjoy, if you get to the end of season 2, I think you'll enjoy the trope that is engaged at the end of season 2.
My wife is doing the I'm in a comedy mood thing right now instead of the and she says she is enjoying it and she wants to continue it, but she's just been on a kick for comedy. So Okay, I'll trust her for now. But
Oh, and it's Xbox Game Pass. I thought about that while I was
Game
away.
Pass, yes.
That's what it's called.
That is it. All right, so this is the part of the show where we like to thank all of our subscribers and patrons who donate at the $5 a month or higher level. So thank you to Justin ×3. You're a beast and a monster of a man. Regina ×2. Naomi, John, June, Eric, Lexi, Patrick, Dave, Kevin, John, Nashok, William, Peter, John, Vekarad, Colleen, Tracy, Michael, Dave, Nick, Arturo, and Nick. I added him. I just want to make sure I had left him off for a week or so, and I felt bad, and I wanted to make sure I added him.
You need to just record that so you can just play it with the outro, you know.
No, because I like to actually personally thank you guys for supporting us. We really appreciate it. And that's going to bring us to final thoughts. Matt, final thoughts for the week.
Oh, Lord. Next week is the first issue of the comic based on the game, based on the comic for Marvel's Spider-Man.
What? Yo, dog, we heard you like meta Spider-Mans.
Well, it's like the Ratchet and Clank thing, the game based on the movie based on the game, except it's the comic based on the game based on the comic. So, Marvel Spider-Man, which was obviously a huge hit for Sony last year, is getting his comic debut officially. Technically, he debuted in Spider-Geddon, but he's getting his video game adaptation of the story. Issue 1 starts next week.
All right, then. My final thought is play The Division 2. It's good and worth your time and money. I'm enjoying it very much. Even if there should be more sinister undertone to the story, I'm still enjoying it. And it works. And it's not a game where you end up being more powerful by using a level 1 weapon and taking all of your armor and gear off. I know it sounds like I've really soured on Anthem. I really still like it. The moment-to-moment gameplay is fun, but man, they need to fix it. Seriously. We'll end the show as we always do with a sage piece of wisdom to carry you over to your next week. And since Matt's the only person in the chat party with me, you get to... Matt, how do snails fight?
Slowly.
They slug it out.
Ah.
Until next week, for Matt and myself, thanks for watching and game on.
Game on.
Are you salty?
A little bit. I don't know. Am I?
No, because they slug it out.